Hi, everybody. Welcome to our community education video. Today, we are talking about some changes that are been going on and has been going on at Hospice of the Chesapeake. And I'm joined by Ben Marcantonio, who's the president and chief executive officer at Hospice of the Chesapeake, and Mike Brady, who is the interim president and CEO as well for Hospice of the Chesapeake. So thanks, you guys, for coming via Zoom today to talk.
Thank you, Tammy.
Ben, let's start with you. Back in July, you announced that you were going to resign from Hospice of the Chesapeake. And I'm just curious if you could share a little bit about what made you come to that decision and what's going to happen for you next.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So, I have been with Hospice of the Chesapeake for about 7.5 years and have just loved the experience I've had here and had really planned on being here probably through retirement, was most likely my plan. And the only thing that would have, drawn me away was something that would have been uniquely challenging for me. And when I learned there was an opportunity for a executive leadership position with the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization, I thought, well, that might be something that would make a difference, for me in my career and for hospice overall, which has, just been a deep passion of mine for almost 20 years now. So that was when that opportunity kind of presented itself, I thought, well, I should at least explore it because it's another place I might be able to make a difference before I do look at retirement and what I might do, in or post-retirement. So just sort of made an initial inquiry and applied, and it just sort of one of those things that each thing fell into place. It made sense. It felt peaceful, and it was confirming. And the hard part was telling my colleagues, the executive team, and then the rest of the organization, the board, our board chair first, Brian Gibbons, who had just stepped into the board chair role. But again, each person that I shared this with initially and learning why I was doing it, where I was going, their responses of being very supportive and again, feeling like it just made sense, helped me with that, confirming that decision that I did take a lot of thought and a lot of time to make. So I look forward to that while also, feeling, of course, the loss of all the great relationships, not loss, but change in all the relationships I have with all of you at Hospice of the Chesapeake.
Well, and yes, I personally was sad, happy for you, sad as from a personal perspective, because it's been such a great opportunity to work with you, but totally excited about this opportunity that you're having in this new role and that we're still sort of in the same circles and that it's not a totally different, like you're not going to go too far away.
Right.
So Mike, when Ben announced that he would be leaving the end of September, you were asked by the board of directors to step in as interim president and CEO. So in addition to your current position. So first of all, congratulations. That's like a huge honor. And just for those that might not know, you've been chief financial officer for Hospice of the Chesapeake since 2017. I'd like you to share a little bit. How do you think that role has prepared you for this new leadership role that you're about to step in?
Yeah, thanks, Tammy. I just want to reflect on one thing Ben shared. We had talked via text on a Friday night, and he said, "Hey, do you mind coming in early Monday?" And it was about something else we were just kind of working on together. And when the first thing he told me was he was leaving, I was shocked. The second piece that he shared when he said, "And the board has asked you to step in as the interim CEO," I was shocked again, and at the same time honored. I mean, honored to serve an organization like Hospice of the Chesapeake that we just have so many good things that are going on right now. Just so many exciting things. My career, I've been a chief financial officer probably, somewhere close to 10 years now. And I've always thought that this was maybe one of my next steps in my career evolution. So it's
to walk into an organization that Ben has formed, as far as what a great culture we have, the mission that we all work towards, the teammates and the partnerships we have internally, it really just made it kind of a no-brainer for me to think about it. It is, as I said in the beginning, it's an honor. And as we continue to work on our mission and expand it, into Prince George's County, more into Anne Arundel County, we have so much ahead of us. It's exciting. It's exciting to really think about it.
Well, as I said, how I was sad for Ben to leave, I was very happy to hear the news for you, Mike. I think it's just going to be a great opportunity for you, and you're going to do great things, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think it may have stung a little bit more if Ben was going to another hospice, but knowing he's moving on to the national stage,
yes,
it was like, wow, that's really pretty neat.
Yeah, it's an awesome opportunity.
Yep.
And
go ahead, Ben.
And from my perspective too, that's also what helped make the decision easier, is that I knew I could leave the organization in really good hands with, Mike's leadership, the rest of the executive team, and actually all of the leadership and management at Hospice of the Chesapeake. Everything is in such good hands going forward without me that I could also, move forward with the decision with that sense of awareness and confidence.
Awesome. So, Mike, you mentioned a little bit about a couple of the counties that Hospice of the Chesapeake is in, Prince George's and Anne Arundel. So the next change that's going to be happening with the organization is the acquisition of Hospice of Charles County. So let's talk a little bit about that. Can you tell me why? First of all, why?
Yeah, Charles County, it really started as a conversation Ben and I had with their former CEO and their chief financial officer. And it's a county that serves currently 40 hospice patients. And our initial conversation was really, how can we help? How can we work together to really assist and help smaller hospice organizations? And as that conversation really evolved, it became more of not how can we help, but how can we really come together as partners and work together. And I'll tell you, Tammy, every step of the way, it was an open partnership. We want to work together. We have great dialogue together. When you put that in alignment with the rich history that Charles County has, and looking at some of the work that we've already done together, it really it was just a good fit all the way around. Again, if we can help expand supportive care and hospice services into Charles County,
right,
that's a win. That's a win all the way around for the residents that live there, for the patients and families that can be served. You throw into that for the employees and staff things like expanded staff education. It's just something that it was a very natural coming together of two like-minded organizations. And that just made it a very easy transition. So.
Ben, did you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, the only thing I think I would add is that our relationship with Charles County, Hospice of Charles County, goes back many years. Michael McHale, who was here before me, had a strong relationship with several on their leadership team and with Senator Mac Middleton. That continued on, handed off to me, and the years preceding, even before Brandon Jones, their CEO, who Mike and I had that conversation with. We just would look to each other. We were neighbors, so and they're smaller, so they would ask us for some insight around some of the things we were doing, ways we might work and collaborate, even before there was any conversation about, serious partnership or affiliation. So there's a lot of roots that go back for many years as just collegial hospices that were really looking for ways to work together directly and through the alliance, the Hospice Alliance as well, but specifically with them and other neighboring hospices like Calvert and such. So as Mike said, it was just sort of a natural evolution of conversations and identification of what could really make it strong. And the most important thing I think Mike said is that what we do is bring greater access to people to hospice and palliative care.
Right.
And that's the whole goal behind any of that kind of relationship building, is to open up access for people who need this kind of care and aren't getting it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great opportunity to be able to just become more regionally accessible for more people and to be able to help them. Right. That's the ultimate goal. So the last change thing that's been happening that I wanted to talk about today might not seem like a big deal, but it's very interesting to me that Hospice of the Chesapeake and all of our affiliated program brands have new logos. So I'm going to share my screen so that everybody can kind of see what I'm talking about. We have a little bit of a little movie to play here. All right, so we have the same name, we have the same great team, we just have a new look, some new logos. So here's the Hospice of the Chesapeake logo, which using similar colors that we had before, but just showcasing a little bit different look. Chesapeake Supportive Care, which is under Hospice of the Chesapeake. It's one of our programs. Chesapeake Life Center. And then the last is our foundation, Hospice of the Chesapeake Foundation. So, Mike, I wanted to, here I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about that. Why update this? Why does this matter?
Yeah, I think for Hospice of the Chesapeake, I mean, I like the image of the hands. I mean, you know, for what we do, I mean, caring is at the core. And many people will think of the patients that we serve, but it's the patients and the families. And looking at that as kind of an update or a refresh for us as an organization, as well as it tying into our expansion into Charles County and to be able to bring those services out. I mean, it just provided so much comfort. The initial, I guess, the genesis to where this all started was, you know, were families or were constituents turned off by the word hospice in our title. And the more that we really looked into that, that was not necessarily the case. But the updating of the colors and again, the symbols and the hands and the caring, that it just is something that it fits with where the organization is today, right, and how we have evolved over time.
Right. So that's awesome. Yeah, just definitely more relevant, more representative of who we are and what we do and where we're going.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. Thank you both again. Ben, I want to just wish you again the best in your new role. I know that you'll continue to support Hospice of the Chesapeake, albeit from afar. I just want to say thank you both for taking the time to talk with me today and update everyone on what's been changing at Hospice of the Chesapeake.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you very much, Tammy.
The final thing, I do want to make sure to thank the John and Kathy Belcher Institute for their generous support of all of the community outreach programs at Hospice of the Chesapeake. Thanks.